Mama Girl, we learn from our travels, and those lessons are what help elevate our trips from traveling experience to traveling experience, making them better for us, making them more tailored to our unique likes and our unique dislikes, and making sure that we don't have any of the dislikes and a whole bunch of the likes. We want all the things, Mama Girl. And today, I want to talk about one of the lessons that I learned, well, a few of the lessons that I learned from a trip that I took with my daughter a few years back. That's why I'm wrapped up in my blanket, Mama Girl, because today is a good story time day. So grab your tea, in my case, water, and come on in here and let us have some good conversation. If you have not met me yet, hey girl, hey. I am your best friend. My name is Jamie, and I am your independent IntelliTravel travel agent. And this is my channel, Prep and Land, where we talk about all things travel from prep to land. And today, like I said, we are talking about one of my experiences with travel and the things that I've learned from my experience that I apply to not only my travels, but to your travels as well when I'm planning them. If you have not done so already, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you stay in the loop of all things happening here at Prep and Land and never miss out on an upload or anything like that, so that you can get all the information you can to help plan your next travels. Okay, let's get started. So, where did I want it to go? Goodness gracious. Where did I want to go? I wanted to go to Richmond, Virginia. Why? I'd never been there before, but not only did I want to go to Richmond, but I wanted to also go to Washington, D.C. because it wasn't that far from Richmond. And I had a cousin that lives in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, and she was going to be able to walk me around Washington and have a whole experience, get all the fancy food, not the fancy food, but all the good food spots. We're going to hit those up. We're going to have a ball. And then we were also going to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania, because my coworker at the time was telling me how Hershey, Pennsylvania was only like 2 hours away from Richmond, and I could go there and just say that I've been, and I'd never been there before. And I was like, oh yeah, that'll be fun. So let's go to Hershey, let's go to Richmond, and let's go to Washington, all in the same trip. The trip was 5 days long. It was just a week long. So we were going to hit all those places in 5 days. Note, I know, listen, if I knew then what I knew now, I would have changed my itinerary, but I didn't. So we did it. Now, how did I plan for the trip? Well, I worked a whole bunch of overtime, and I used that overtime money that I made to be able to pay for the trip. I went ahead and I purchased all my tickets on the days that I wanted to visit, and the days I wanted to visit the different things, because I wanted to take my baby to King's Dominion because she loves roller coasters. I wanted to take her to Hershey, and when we went to Hershey, I actually wanted to be able to do some of the attractions there. So there's Hershey Park, which is like a theme park, and then there's like a little touristy type of situation where you can go do like a little trolley ride around Hershey, Pennsylvania, and get a little story time there. You could do, they have like this 4D movie theater where you put the glasses on, and then the little things, you can feel it and smell it and all the things. They have one of those there in the little building, and then they had some other attractions too that I wanted her and I to participate in. You can make your own chocolate bar, all the things. So we did that. I paid for the tickets for that, and then I also wanted to go take a train ride. I've never taken a train ride before, but I wanted to do it. Take a train ride from Richmond, Virginia to Washington, D.C., which was so fun. So I went ahead and I purchased my train tickets as well. So I did all those things before I checked to make sure that the times were going to do what I needed them to do. Lessons that we will tell at the end of this video, I promise. So my itinerary it's like I said, it was a 5-day trip experience. I said 5 days, actually 6 days. So on the first day was my travel day. So I traveled up to Richmond, Virginia, checked in at the hotel, settled in. We went out for tacos. We ended up having one of the tacos at one of the local taco restaurants there. Phenomenal. The second day was just staying in Richmond, but we were going to do King's Dominion. So we were at King's Dominion all day. She was riding all the rides. She got me to ride some of them. I don't ride roller coasters, so I'm over here screaming. My voice is gone. But we had a blast. King's Dominion, we did that all day on the second day. Then the third day, we went up to Hershey, Pennsylvania. It required us, because I did not check the timing to make sure that my coworker was telling me the truth. I just took its word for it. Hershey, Pennsylvania is 4 hours away. 4 hours and some change, actually, away from Richmond, Virginia. So we had to wake up at 5 a.m. to make sure that we made it to our first exhibit, which started at 9 or 9:30. So we had to wake up at 5 a.m. to go up to Richmond, to Hershey, Pennsylvania, to explore Hershey, and then come on back and see. On the way back from Hershey, Pennsylvania, it actually ended up being some bad weather. So that 4-hour trip up ended up being like 6 or 7 hours coming back. It was really bad. Traffic was terrible. The wind was blowing the car everywhere on the road. Listen, the wind up in the north is different than the wind in the south. It's so different. And so it was swaying me every which way. So I'm already flustered. And then the rain was coming down, and it was sheets of rain. People didn't know how to drive in it. And it was bad. It was bad. So it ended up being like a 6 or 7 hour trip coming back. And then the third day, no, that was the third day. The fourth day, we had to wake up early again to go up to the train station, because the train left at like 9. If I remember correctly, the train left from Richmond to Washington, D.C. at around 9. And then we were going to meet my cousin there, and we explored Washington, got back on the train at 5, came back to Richmond, Virginia, got back at the hotel around 10. No, I think it was later, because it was around 10 that we got back to the hotel. But the train ride wasn't as long going back, because there wasn't as many stops. So we had to leave around 7 or 8, something like that. It was late in the evening, because we were able to catch dinner with my other cousin, who was going to Howard University. So we were able to catch dinner with her before we got the train to come back to Richmond. And then day 5 or day 6, was the day that we came back home. And we ended up, instead of going home, we ended up checking out into a room into Charlotte. We stopped in Charlotte because I wanted some burgooshi, and the only place that makes burgooshi that I know of is Cowfish. And if you don't know what burgooshi is, I'll go ahead and break it down to you real quick. It is sushi that has burger ingredients. So instead of the traditional sushi ingredients, you have the burger broken down. It's cooked. It's not raw burger meat, okay? It is cooked. And it is so good. It's burgooshi. I called the restaurant, my friend laughs at me, because when she introduced it to me, that's the only way I knew how to describe it to her, so she knew what I was talking about. So I called the restaurant burgooshi until it registered with me that it's called Cowfish. But I love that restaurant. That's my favorite restaurant in Charlotte. So that's where I wanted to go. And I said, because I want to go there, we're going to go ahead and check into this room because I'm tired. So I booked a random room. I booked it. That way we could travel. That way we could go to Burgooshi and then just check into the room versus trying to come back home from Charlotte, which is like an hour and some change away from my house. I did not feel like driving any further. So that was my itinerary. Now, it was busy. It was fun. We had a lot of first-time experiences. We got to explore King's Dominion together. We never did that together. We went to... No, that was our first theme park. Our first... Yeah. Dang. Crazy. But yeah, that was our first theme park together. We went to, well, not theme park. That was our first amusement park together. We went to Kings Dominion. Crazy. Another first experience was traveling up to Hershey, Pennsylvania. I've never been, she's never been. And so we experienced that together and it was fun. Listen, you got to make your own chocolate and they have the little conveyor belt where you actually see the chocolate being made. It's not just, oh, we're going to go behind the scenes and do all the things. No, you get to see it firsthand. And then they had the tour guide that they had. It was so fun. They had music. They dressed in old clothes. And I don't want to call it traditional clothes, but they dressed in old-timey traditional clothes. And then they gave us a full tour of the different things, the different buildings in Hershey and all this and the history behind it. It was so fascinating. We had such a blast. I told her the next time we go to Hershey, we're going to actually stay there. That way we can have like a 2-day type of experience. We'll have the day 1 where we do all the touristy stuff, and then day 2 where we can actually go to the amusement park and ride. She ride some of the rides. But yeah, it was a blast. We had fun. And then the train ride, like I said, that was our first train ride. So we got to see the train come in and it made the whole horn sound. It was fun. And then all the stops and the goes and seeing all the different scenic routes up to Washington that you don't necessarily see when you're on the highway. It was a fun, overall, it was a fun filled trip. We had a blast. I came back, I told the stories, all the memories we made together. It was just amazing. The food was great. The company was great. Meeting up with my cousins and being able to hang out with them in Washington. All the things. It was so fun. So fun. But if you are not able to tell, honey, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I was exhausted. And I worked 12-hour shifts. And I had to be back at work that Monday. I was tired. Your girl was tired. I was so tired, but I had a blast. So the lessons that I learned is that even though I want to have all these experiences about making sure that we have adventure and fun, there also needs to be days of rest. Even if not days of rest, like intentional moments of rest. Instead of waking up at the butt crack of dawn every day, which is basically what I did. The only day that we actually slept in was never. Now that I think about it, we woke up early every day because Kings Dominion, I wanted to make sure we got the full day. So we woke up early being like 8. We woke up around 8. We had breakfast and then we went to Kings Dominion and we were there until 5. Because the park, if I remember correctly, the park opens up at like 9 or 10. So we were there till they closed pretty much. So a full filled day there. And then, like I said, we woke up at 5 a.m. to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania. We woke up like 6 or 7 a.m. to make sure we caught the train to Washington. And then checkout was at noon, so we had to wake up early that day too to make sure we packed up everything and headed to Charlotte. And then again, we woke up early that day because I was ready to come home. And so we came home. And then it was just, for lack of better term, balls to the walls. We were ripping and running every day after that. So because I had to go back to work. And like I said, I was working 12-hour shifts. So there was no sleep. There was no sleep until the next full weekend that I was off. And so I was tired. So the first lesson that I learned that I apply to all my trips now is making sure that I put moments of rest and relaxation in every trip. Because it's one thing to have adventures and be tired. And that's not the goal. The goal is to have not only adventures, but also have rest. So that way when you come back from your vacation, you are rejuvenated and ready to continue to take on life full-fledged and be able to do it effectively. Lesson number 2, research. I cannot stress that word enough. If I researched how far Pennsylvania was from Richmond, Virginia, I guarantee you Jamie would not have gone. Not in that trip. And if I did, I probably would have either allowed myself more time to travel, or I would have done it to where I just go to those two places and not necessarily Washington, D.C. Something would have given. That way I would have had a moment to just kind of like chill. Because that was a lot. That was a lot of driving for Jamie. Jamie doesn't like driving more than 4 hours at a time. Actually, no, it's increased because I was able to drive 6 hours with no problem. So it's increased to 6 hours. But honey, me and driving is a love-hate relationship. And most of the time I hate it, which is why I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to where I don't have to drive anymore. I have the option of either being a passenger princess or driving. But yes, 6 hours is like my maximum before I start getting antsy. I need to sit down. I need to get out the car and go do something or sit down somewhere out of the car. So, yeah, I did not enjoy the driving that I had to do that day. It was frustrating. I was frustrated, but like I said, overall it was a good trip. So that's the second thing I learned, just researching, not only how far destinations are from each other, but also hotels, honey, because the hotel that I went to in Charlotte, I will never go to that hotel again. And if I read the reviews before I booked the hotel, I would not have stayed there. I did not enjoy my stay. I did not enjoy it at all. So much so that I told my daughter the quality of care did not meet my standards whatsoever. And so I was not comfortable staying there, but I did not want to spend additional money to find a different hotel. And I did not want to, I was tired. So I did not want to drive home. With all them other people's children on the highway and having to watch out for them and myself. I did not want to do it. So I ended up staying there that night. And we got up early the next morning to come home. We didn't take a shower. We did not pass go. We came directly home and did all that stuff there. So yeah, it was not, if I researched, I would have found a better hotel to make sure that my experience in Charlotte was nice. So that's the next thing I learned. Research. Those are the two main things that I learned that I not only take into all of my trips moving forward, but I also do when planning your trips, ensuring that you have both rest and fun, and ensuring that the research is done, so that your standards are met, so that you are not faced with unpleasant hotel stays or busy schedules to where you have to do a whole bunch of driving, a whole bunch of stuff you don't want to do. In my case, driving. In your case, whatever you don't like doing. That's what I learned, Mama Girl. So listen, I want to hear from you. What things have you learned from your travels that help you to be able to make your travels better? What are some of the lessons that you've learned that you apply to your travels? Let me know. Leave it in the comment section below. Listen, that's it. That's all I have for you, Mama Girl. I appreciate you allowing me to tell you one of my travel stories. I have several, but that's one of the most memorable ones that taught me a whole bunch of different lessons. Well, not a whole bunch of different lessons. 2 major lessons. 2 major lessons that I apply to all of my travels and all of my travel planning for you all. So listen, if you are ready, if you are saying, Jamie, let us explore. I want to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania. I want to go to Richmond, Virginia. I want to go to Washington, D.C. I want to go somewhere else that I did not mention in this video. You totally can, and I can totally help you plan it. All you have to do is contact me. And you can do that by going to my website, www.prepandland.com/contact. There you can put in your information. Tell me where you want to go, what you want to do, what's your budget like, how far, how long. Let me know all the details, Mama Girl, and let us plan this trip together today. As always, Mama Girl, I want you to continue to make life an experience and experience the life that you choose. Don't just exist. Live, Mama Girl. Live. Until next time. Peace.